Me Beat. Delighted to be here this week and to entertain you with some of the excellent things that are happening in our community and throughout South Florida and throughout the entertainment world, and bring you some news about a lot of things that are going on. First and foremost, I'd like to thank all of our audience and our viewers that tuned in last week and watched our show. It was amazing. It was like I'm profoundly grateful for you tuning in. Our first show. In less than 24 hours, we had over 4,000 views, and that is remarkable. So I want to thank everybody for doing that. And I would like to ask you if you would please share this video, share the show with everybody, because I think that everybody will have a lot to gain from it. This week we have a very special guest, a lady that I have known for a while. She's a fantastic artist. She is from our community. She's not only a local artist in our community here in South Florida, but she has traveled throughout the world and entertained people throughout the world. So at this time, I'd like to introduce my best friend and great singer, Lucy Grau.
Hi, Rene. It's so great to be here with you in this program. I'm very excited to have a chat with you.
Thank you, Lucy. We were delighted to have you here, and it's really a pleasure because I have been following your music for years, and you are such a wonderful entertainer. You have the ability to capture the audience and make them come alive.
I know that's what I love about what I do, is just trying to have that contagious energy and transmitting it, and that's my favorite part of the whole performing. And I'm very proud to be Miami-born, Miami-based. I believe that what I do embodies what is Miami, which is culturally rich, and I take pride in that. And I'm very happy that Carlos Oliva was one of the first ones here to open the program, because he is the pioneer of what I do, which is the Miami sound.
You are. You truly. You have been. You have been coined as the lady that is that inherited the Miami sound.
Yes, Carlos calls me la heredera del sonido de Miami, the heiress of the Miami sound, which is a big title, but I wear it very proudly because that's what I am. That's who I am. I was born here, and this community means the world to me.
Talk about how you got into the entertainment business, how you started singing, a little bit about your background. You were born here in Miami. You were born at Mount Sinai Hospital?
Yes, I was born in Miami Beach, born and raised down in Homestead, in the Homestead area. And it's been, I started at a very young age, started in church, in a Methodist church, and with a group called Alpha, which in the Bible means the beginning. And that's where I started. And then, of course, my mom would take me secretly, incognito, without my dad knowing. She would take me to the Cayocho festivals. And then during the breaks between the changes of the bands, because they had like a curtain kind of thing in between, that's where I would go up and have a little cassette tape, because back in the day it was a cassette. That was a long time ago. I'm aging myself. And that's how I started singing in front of, a large audience and diverse, and salsa and the, Cuban music. And that's how I started.
How did you come up with the idea of merging the wonderful music that you do, the Donna Summer style type music, into the Latin salsa style? How did you come up with that?
Well, originally when Donna Summer passed away back in 2012, I realized that nobody had done a tribute to her. I mean, this woman was the queen of disco. So I spoke to the producer. I said, why don't we try to do a little fusion? And because I've always, all my life, singing with party bands back in the day. Those are like her songs, the On the Radio, Last Dance, etc. They were all like iconic songs that we would sing in the party bands. So I said, let's just, and I would always be experimenting with doing those fusions of doing a little maybe Latin jazz, with some English lyrics and things like that. And of course, following in the footsteps of Los Sobrinos del Juez, so the judge's nephews, they were the pioneer of all this. So that happened, and then I saw that it was, people wanted it, they loved it when I first came out with Last Dance, and they wanted more. So that's why I contested, okay, there's a little niche here. Let me just continue doing it. And it just comes very naturally to me, because I can transition from English to Spanish, Spanish to English without any, effortlessly. And so I just said, let me take advantage of that. So that's why I started doing that. And I continue.
You certainly do, and it and it is a great way to entertain our local community here, because everybody, that comes to your shows, enjoys that very much. And so not just the Hispanics, but also the English-speaking
Absolutely.
audience.
I realized that when I used to work in some clubs or some important venues in La Pequeña Habana, Little Havana, I noticed a lot of the tourists would come and they would enjoy, of course, the beat and everything, but then they would appreciate even more understanding what I was singing. Because, of course, you want to get the whole, Latino, Cuban feel for it, because that's what Miami is, but you want to try to understand what you know.
Exactly. No, and you have shared the stage with a lot of iconic artists throughout the world. But talk about that a little bit, because I have a list. You've been on stage with Andy Garcia.
Yes.
With Roberto Torres, Eddie Santiago. Talk about those experiences.
I have been blessed with sharing the stage, whether it was back in the day when I started being their backup vocals or actually doing something with them. Andy Garcia was a wonderful experience. Roberto Torres is like a godfather to me. He's amazing. I've had experiences with a bunch of salseros of around the world. Carlos Oliva, as I mentioned earlier. La India, which is almost like a sister to me. She's an international recording artist, not just for the salsa community, but she used to do freestyle and other kinds of, American music, which is for me, that's where I started. That's the base of everything that I do.
What was it like to be on a stage with Albita?
Oh, wow. She is so powerful. Her energy on stage is she's just like, she's there and there, you're like, she doesn't even have to open her mouth because you feel it. And it was a wonderful experience.
So you've shared the stage with some wonderful artists. What was your takeaway from those experiences? How did you feel after you left there? Did that help you to fine-tune the recordings that you ultimately came out with?
Yeah, absolutely. You always learn from somebody. I think you have to take advantage of those situations and learn from the people that you were able to be next to, and build your own rapport, build your own character, your own style. And that's what I believe that I feel that those were little learning lessons for, grab a little bit from here, grab a little bit from there, and you build your own little style. And it's just been a blessing to be able to be surrounded by so many wonderful, talented artists.
I found out that in 2018, Humboldt International University honored you to recognize you as being the for all the contributions of salsa genre. Talk about that. How did you feel when you found out about that?
Wow, I was actually amazed because I think I have so much more to do that for me to be recognized for just that much was, to me, a huge accomplishment. And not just that, but receiving it from the hands of Oscar de Leon, which is a monster in the salsa industry. It was, for me, it was surreal. He's like my favorite artist of all time of the salsa industry. And it was just such a privilege. And, you're very humbled by those things.
I'm sure you are, yeah. And a great honor to receive all of that. You have also been performing in Date Days, which was founded by Monty Trainer.
Yes.
What was that experience like? Well, you go to Tallahassee every year, and
yes.
You perform up there.
We go once a year. I've been doing that since I was 13 years old. It's been a long time. I still go there as representing Orquesta América, which is back in the day was Rubén Otero, and may he rest in peace. He's the founder of Orquesta América, and I've been doing it since then, and it's been 30 some odd years that I have been doing that event, and it's always very special because we get to bring that Miami flavor and make a whole bunch of noise in the middle of Tallahassee, which is super quiet. But it has opened up a lot of doors for me here in the community with our government, and just a lot of great events have come out from that. So
yeah, Monty Trainer speaks extremely highly of you.
Yes, I adore him. It's just been so many years we've known each other. Same as Diane and everybody involved from day one, from Date Days. Bob Levy, which passed away, as you all know. Has just been something that's formed me.
Great experiences to
Absolutely.
Be involved in that. But that is just one of many activities that you're involved in the community. Talk a little bit about some of the other great community activities that you're involved in, nonprofit organizations, etc.?
Well, I'm involved in Autism Speaks because one of my nieces and a nephew have autism. So we try to contribute as much as we can with our talents and things like that. I also do a lot of I do some community theater, which is fulfilling for me because during when I went to college, that's what I studied is musical theater, believe it or not. That's where my foundation. And it's just, I have a lot of fun doing that. Building, helping other young talents build up, their confidence in themselves. And that's important.
I read an article recently about your story, your life on the stage. And the article in the newspaper was quoted as saying that you are known for your true vocals and charismatic stage presence.
Oh, that's nice. Yes, I try to transmit what I feel. I try to be as realistic as I am. So what you see is what you get. So it's nothing like, I'm one thing off stage and another thing on stage. Of course, when you're on stage, it's like a switch. It's unbelievable when you're on stage. So to get that kind of compliment, I think it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, this is a sad week for the music industry.
Yeah.
We lost the queen of rock.
Yes.
Andre, if you could put her picture up, Tina Turner.
Wow. An icon. Tina Turner is just one of those people that influence you, not just musically, but as a powerful woman, a woman that was mistreated, abused, and she just got out of that and she went with it and she built and she just created this fireball of just power and endurance that is just, she brought through a very powerful message.
How much influence did that bring to your career?
No, always. It just makes you think you can do anything. You can get out of any situation. And as talented as she was, it's just, even till her last moment, you see her, she looked fantastic. She was respected by so many people, very peaceful human being from what I hear. I was listening to some of the interviews about her. It's just, she seemed like she was a fascinating woman and just very peaceful and, quiet and pacific. And she's something to admire because when she was on stage, she was like a powerhouse. And then all of a sudden behind, she was like a very zen. And so yes.
She truly was. We're going to miss her a lot.
Yes, absolutely.
Anecdotally, I have a cute story to tell you about Tina.
I'd love to hear it.
And my roommate, Tom Schutte, who was the drummer for the Rhodes Brothers and many other famous artists throughout the world, was invited by Ike Turner to come out to Las Vegas and audition because they were getting ready to go on tour to Europe. So he flew out there, and the following day he goes down into the studio, and there's all these musicians there, and Ike Turner tells Tom, go ahead and sit behind the drums. He says, we're going to try a song. So they hand him some sheet music, and he puts it on the music stand, and Ike Turner puts his guitar on, and he says, okay, Tom, he says, kick it off. So Tom, in his traditional, kicks it off with, the traditional start by the drummer. And he plays a song, Proud Mary, throughout without missing a beat.
Wow.
His beat was completely perfect. Everything was excellent. The audition finishes. Ike takes his guitar off, goes over, shakes his hand, and he says, I gotta shake your hand. He says, that was amazing. He says, I've never known anybody to walk into a studio like that, audition, and get the song just perfect like that.
Wow.
How did you do that? But more importantly, how did you do that? You had the music upside down. He says, I couldn't really write that up. I don't read music.
No way. So he did it by ear. That is so cool. That was super cool. It's just, there's just so much behind that story because a lot of, he had it upside down and it's like, wow, how did he?
Didn't even look at it.
It's just the influence of the music. We just brought it to him. It was just, He delivered.
Yeah. No, Tom went on to play with Percy Sledge and, some very famous Lionel Richie. I mean, he's toured the world with a lot of very famous artists. So, but anyway, so you have recorded 4 albums,
yes,
and with some phenomenal music. How did that segue into your music industry, into your music career?
Well, I started off, like I said, it was just an idea with the whole Last Dance. And then we did a follow-up song, which was to that, which on the radio. But meanwhile, parallel, we were doing some, original music, compositions that I had done, which went well, but people still wanted, like the follow-ups. So we did some other albums doing with, the original thing. And then I believe the most recent one, it was A Petición, which is by request. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I went on social media, on Facebook, and I said, okay, what songs would you guys like to hear in a salsa version, a disco song? And you should have seen the kind of requests. A lot of them I had to, unfortunately, kind of discard because, you couldn't translate it into like a salsa beat. Right. So that's when we came up with at least the most recent one, which is, that's my favorite one because it's just a whole compilation of like wonderful songs from the era. We Are Family, Bad Girls, Heaven Knows, which I did with Carlos, If I Can't Have You. So it's just, it was a marvelous experience being able to please. And I still have a whole list more that I'm like, I don't know what to do. I might do another. One something like that, because it's just so many songs were left behind, and it's kind of sad to me. I love to please people, so with that said, I might just do another one as well. So
well, we would love it if you did, because
just throw me some ideas, right here on the chat. Say, hey, why don't you do this one in salsa? So that would be a lot of fun.
There you go. We'll ask our audience, to contact you, get on your Facebook page, Instagram,
TikTok. I'm on all that stuff.
All that stuff. So have them send some suggestions to you. At this time, I'd like to ask Andrea, our producer, to play a little bit of one of your very famous songs that you recorded, which is called Last Dance. Andre, would you please cue that up and play it for the audience?
Last dance, last chance for love. This is my last chance for romance tonight. Oh, I need you by me, beside me, to guide me, and to hold me, to scold me. 'Cause when I'm bad, I'm so bad. So let's dance, let's dance, let's dance, let's dance, let's dance, this last dance tonight. El último.
I don't want to do that anymore. I've been doing it for so many years, but this one I don't get tired of it. I love it.
That is truly an iconic song for you. I mean, everybody think when they hear that song, they think about Lucy Grau.
Yes.
So, and it's wonderful the way that the fusion that you made between the English version to the Latin version, the Latin salsa beat, you bring it in, and it just makes it really a dynamic song.
Yeah,
So,
when you do things like this, you got to be very careful. I wanted to make sure I respected the essence of the original one, but at the same time, you want to put your own little twist on it, little Miami in there.
and it's a great twist. It really is. It just makes the song really so powerful and so exciting that everybody really enjoys it.
Thank you.
I want to ask you about what's in the future for Lucy. Besides, you talked about you want to record again, and we certainly look forward to that. But what's on the calendar? What are you doing? Are you touring? Are you going to go to Europe? Are you going to go to Latin America? What are you going to do?
There's a lot of things coming up. For example, the recordings. I'm also doing at the same time recordings of some Spanish songs, because I have a lot of requests from people from Ecuador, from Peru, asking me to do things in Spanish, Colombia. And then once we finish that album in Spanish, then we will be touring, South America. And I also have in the beginning of next year, believe it or not, we're already starting next year's agenda. We're going to start, a little piece of, we're going to go to France. We're trying to go to Germany, like a whole little tour. It's about 3 weeks or so that we're going to be doing because people have been waiting for me for a while in Europe. I've been there, but they need Lucy to return. It was just like in the beginning, so now they're like more familiar with who I am. So yes, I'm really excited about that too. And now that I have new vocal cords, I have to.
Well, I'm sure the pandemic didn't help. I mean, the pandemic really threw a monkey wrench into everything that was going on.
Yeah, I think it affected a lot of us, especially in the entertainment industry. It was just very challenging because you had to try to reinvent yourself, and a lot of things have changed since then. A lot of things are virtual now, but so I'm excited. I'm excited that since everything is back to normal, I think, just getting back out there and being able to be with the people, the audience, and that's my favorite part.
You just touched on a subject that I spoke with Carlos about in the last show, and that is how the industry has changed dramatically and gone to, digital and virtual music and all that. How does that impacted your career?
No, it's been challenging because you have to be open to it. So you have to make it turn a little switch in your brain because you're used to working a certain way. And I think sometimes it's to an advantage. So you have to take advantage of everything that's given to you. All these platforms and things like that. Sometimes you see in the beginning you're like you become a little bit scared of it or a little bit intimidated. But I think you should try to use it. I've been trying to use it as an advantage. Doing certain recordings, doing even I remember during the pandemic and even the year after, I would do live recordings virtually, and it was super fun. It's never the same as, of course, the one-on-one with the audience and just having them right there. But, you have to go with the times. You can't just stay behind, and it's challenging to try to get used to it. But, yeah, take advantage of all that.
Yeah, you mentioned that you have new vocal cords.
Yes. I had last year in August, I had vocal cord surgery because when you play with live bands, especially salsa bands, they play very loud. The drums, the congas, the trumpets. It was me against the instruments. Mm-hmm. And you get really into it. And so he just started creating these nodules on my vocal cords. And it was just the calluses in there. It just became very difficult to sing, like hit certain notes and the breathing and all that. And in my culture, in my Cuban culture, it's very hard to keep quiet. So one of my biggest defects is that I talk a lot, hence, and I speak very loudly. So I have to right now, still training my psyche, sort of say, to refocus the way that I speak and I communicate, my volume. And every time I remember, like right now, you just speaking of this is reminding me, so I'm bringing it down a few notches. So yeah, it's been challenging. It's a whole personality change.
Well, I have to commend you, and I have to commend the surgical team or whoever it was that
Dr. Vivero, amazing.
Phenomenal, because I had the pleasure of seeing you on stage just 2 or 3 months ago,
Yes.
I think it was. And you were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that was my comeback when you saw me. So it was really exciting. I was very nervous because I didn't know what was going to come out. So, but
It was
yes.
great. It was a packed house.
Yes. It was. I guess everybody was like waiting for me to come back. So it was really exciting to
And
be
they
there.
loved you.
Yes.
They really did.
Thank you.
They
Thank
truly
you.
loved you. You did a phenomenal job. One of the things that really impresses me about whenever you record, whenever you perform, is the quality of these musicians that you're surrounded by. How do you manage to do that?
Well, I've been blessed that I've been surrounded by such great, talented musicians that can really, give me that extra oomph. I learn a lot from them. I learn a lot about, what's good, what's bad, and and they bring a lot to the table. So I appreciate them greatly. They're amazing. These musicians that surround me are just outstanding.
Out of all of the musicians that follow you, that help you, that perform with you, which one really truly stands out there?
They all stand out. But in specific, I have my musical director has been with me from day one, Willie Cardoso, and I really am very grateful to him because he has always been there for me. Juan Carlos Gonzalo in the piano. I've had my brass section. It's just, Rafa on the congas. All these people have been with me from day one or almost day one. It's just, I've been blessed because, as you've seen, the majority of them have been with me for a long time from the get-go.
And Willie is phenomenal because I I've watched Willie come for sound check and get the band ready and make sure that all the monitors are perfect for you and everything. He's such a professional.
Super professional. Like I said, he's been there from day one, so he knows my ins and outs. He knows what I like, what I don't like, and that gives me a lot of peace.
And Willie's not only a musician, but he's also a composer, a writer. He does, he's a multi-talented.
Yes, and he's an arranger. A lot of
Arranger,
times
yeah.
I give him like things to do. I say, look, why don't you do the sheet music for this? And he transcribes it. It's just, he's phenomenal.
Fantastic. Well, Lucy, it really has been a wonderful, wonderful time to having you here with us on the Miami Beat and talking about your story and bring this to all of our audiences. And we really want to thank you, and we think that it's that we want to congratulate you, and we wish you much luck in the future and to your career going forward and where you're going to go. On your tours to Europe and Latin America. Please keep us posted on your recording. Keep us posted on your appearances, where you're going to be performing, et cetera, because we definitely want to follow you. We definitely want to support you, and we wish you much luck. So once again, Lucy, thank you so much. We really, really
Thank you for the
appreciate having you
invitation.
here. But at this time, I'd like to close our show today with a tribute to the Queen of Rock, who unfortunately passed away this week. I want to play a little video from her. So, Andres, if you could please cue that up. We'd like to pay tribute to Tina Turner, the Queen of Rock.
You simply